Hello, hello. Thank you so much for being an incredible podcast audience. You guys are fantastic. Thank you for the comments. Look, really important that as you're sending us the comments, telling people that you love and what they say, reach out to them as well. You know, we have great show notes, so let them know that they've been heard. And if you want to lean into our guests, and when I say guests, you are on another group show, and we have incredible guests today. This is about health. This is about wellness. This is about lifestyle. And you know, I talk about that a lot, even in my business classes. It's like health and wealth have a relationship. They are a very strong relationship, kind of like you wouldn't put salt on without pepper. I don't know why I said that. Someone needed to hear me say that. But they go together. You know, they go together. I remember when I was doing some health and wealth lecturing, the bank called me in and said, look, we have so many very financially abundant people that are so unhealthy they can't even get onto a cruise ship. They're not allowed. So you can't have one without the other. Your body is the most important piece of real estate you will ever own. So I want you to invest in yourself today. I want you to really lean into this podcast today and hear something for yourself. And if someone's name pops up for you, if you think of someone while you're listening to one of these incredible healers have a conversation today, then please share this show with them. Because I think that's what we do, right? We have no problem referring movies to people. We should be referring healers to people. And I think it would all be in a really great place. So let me introduce to you who you are going to be sharing some time with today. So if you want to just give a little wave, we are viewing and listeners. So if you're listening and you're doing your thing, doing yoga, I know a lot of you do yoga when you listen to our show. That's cool. You don't need to stop and look. But for those of you that want to know who you're listening from, so I'll just get my guests to kind of peace sign or wave or do what have you so people know who you are. So we have Kristen here, intuitive empowerment and healer. Yay. And then Kazamaru, she is a psychic mediumship. She's in psychic mediumship. We have Ed and Abby, two for the price of one, and they are all about health and wealth products. Incredible. Bianca, there's Bianca, and she's doing amazing things in the area of mental health. And then we have Toby, and all about humanitarian. She's got an incredible nonprofit called Be Humanitarian. So today we've got some questions that we're going to ask these incredible people, hear their perspective, and let's change the vibe on the planet today, shall we? So if you don't mind, Kristen, I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to just simply ask you a question to introduce yourself and kind of tell us how it was that you got into this field. Like, what is it about health and wellness that really stuck for you?
Sure. Kristen Rose Marduk, and I'm in Monument, Colorado, which is very close to Colorado Springs. And in terms of what got me into this, it's always been a natural calling of mine. I spent 20 years in traditional, I guess, corporate in digital media marketing and SaaS analytics. But my side passion has always been alternative spirituality, mindfulness, etc. So I kind of mix the woo with the traditional corporate. Now, I was really introduced to it by my mother when I was a kid, who was an astrologer. And she was a great inspiration to me. And she had this knack of being able to help people and a really unusual way that was all her own. And so that was really the inspiration to me. So I kind of had both legs up or both sides of the fence, Deb. And I was working in corporate and was studying mindfulness and all the good things that came along on the side while helping people. So I had a side gig helping people. So I became a certified Reiki healer. I got a BA in metaphysics. I got a certification in coaching to mix all of that together. And really, what my passion has been over the years is really to take those concepts that I'm probably really familiar with and work with corporate people that are less comfortable with it.
Wow. Well, thank you. That's incredible. I love that you were inspired by your mom. I'm a mom. I love that. I'm a holistic mom, and I
Yeah.
love that. Oh my goodness. And Bianca, what about
Yeah.
yourself? Please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from and what was about your sector, this beautiful sector of helping people in mental health that drew you in.
Yes, so I'm Bianca. I was actually born and raised in South Africa, and mental health is a big taboo subject in South Africa till this day. And I was one of those young teenagers who knew something was wrong with me, but I wasn't able to get the help that I needed and deserved at the time. And so when I moved to America, I was shocked how people talked about mental health, but quickly realized there's a massive flaw in the system here too. And so that's how I found Nora, mental health. And I wanted to have a non-judgment environment in a community where we take most insurances. There's not a big, hardship for people to get the therapy that they need. And that's kind of how I started and became a Nora Mental Health Fort Worth franchisee.
Wow. So I love that. I mean, and you've got great perspective. And I think that that's very true in many, many areas. The home you lived in, you had a mother who was an astrologist. So the environment in which we live in, the culture in which we live in can really dictate our access or acceptance of what some people call holistic medicine or alternative medicine. Some people call medicine. So I'm glad that you found your home there. Oh my goodness. And we have Ed and Abby here. Oh my goodness. Nice to see you both. We got to see each other. We both shared some time at the Oscars gifting suite, and you were gifting, we were gifting, and we had such a great time. And I'm really enjoying your products actually. But tell us what it was, where you're from, and what it is that you guys do.
Well, my name is Abby, and this is Ed. We are married. Our last name is Mendel. Our business, we're from Henderson, Nevada. Our business is Bees Gone. It's 100% natural skincare and repair. And the way we came about it is a little bit, well, I've been very much into healthy eating and trying, during the lockdowns, I did a lot of reading. So, I realized that there were so many chemicals and toxins in the air, in the food, and everything that we're doing. And I was like, no wonder sometimes I feel so yucky, because I'm just full of yuckiness, that I'm putting into my body. Not that I'm yucky, that the stuff that I was putting into my body was yucky. So it raised our awareness. And then I was having problems getting a job. I had graduated from college. I couldn't even get an interview, and I was so frustrated. And I would, of course, whine and cry to Ed and say, "Oh, I'm so frustrated." And I said, if I only, had an idea, I would open a business of my own, because I don't want to work for anybody anymore. And he said, well, I cured my own toe fungus and athlete's foot. And I was like, ew, no, thank you, gross, not having it. And then I kept looking and looking, and I'm like, all right, talk to me about this thing. This toe fungus. And so what we started doing was a lot of research and all that stuff. And we made this balm, and we were giving it to our friends and family and all that to try. And they were using it on all these different types of skin problems, not just toe fungus and athletes, but they were using it on their eczema, and we were encouraging tattoo aftercare. We actually, we were, based on our research, we saw all these benefits of the ingredients that we want. So we're like, if someone said they had eczema, we're like, try it. If they had dermatitis, try it, and give us feedback. And what we found is it wound up being way better than we ever imagined. And we're like, we have something here. And so we went and contacted a patent lawyer, because if we have something, we didn't want to share. And we want to share in the sense that we want everybody using our business. Your skin is the largest organ of your body, and that is the quick way to your bloodstream. And so we have to be careful what we put on our skin, because what we put on our skin goes into our bloodstream. So we're really pushing natural.
That's awesome. Wow. Okay. Well, we can't wait to hear more. That's a great story. What I heard in that is that you raised your level of awareness. And I think that's exactly what you were doing. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. And Kazamaru, yourself, what do you do, and how did this come into your life?
Yes, aloha. So I'm Kazemaru, and I'm in Hawaii, and I have a lifelong experience in holistic medicine and meditation. I started meditating when I was about 14, which is a long time ago. And then I was in sort of a life crisis, I'd say, and I went to a psychic, and she told me, but you are psychic, that's what you should be doing. And then I realized that's why things were going wrong, because I wasn't following my natural instinct, I would say. And then also coming from holistic medical background. I was trained in Japan. I felt that the psychic mediumship can be really healing for the soul. And that's what I found beautiful. And so, not only for myself, but I could see how it started to help others. So, that's why I started.
Wow, so beautiful. 14. Hmm. At 14, I think I was watching Love Boat, in Treasure Island, right? I just aged myself there. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. But you know what? My children can say that. So there you go. My children can say
Nice, nice.
that. Right. Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Toby, please tell us about you. Where are you residing? Where are you coming in from? And how did Be Humanitarian come into your life?
Thank you so much, Deb. It's so fun to be here. My name is Toby Spears, and I'm the founder and director of Be Humanitarian. I started this about 13 years ago when I did my first trip to Guatemala. I live in Utah and I get to have the chance to get to Guatemala several times a year. So that's fun. My heart definitely belongs in Guatemala. I lead what I call volunteer vacations. So I'm not a traditional health practitioner by any means, but I am deeply rooted in the emotional well-being of our community in Guatemala. I firmly believe that giving back is like a powerful way to stay healthy and stay connected to healing and health. So I get to work in this beautiful community in Guatemala. And what's interesting is that in developing countries, there's not like such a thing as like self-help or, like self-care because they're surviving. They're not worried about improving their self-help. So that's a big goal of mine is to connect, we have coaches and all sorts of cool things that we do with our moms and our community. So our community before we got involved, they didn't have access to clean water or food or education or any of those things that are parts of our health. And so we started a program that's dealing with nutrition and education and job creation. So we've got all sorts of projects going on that's enough to keep all of us busy. And we have garden towers. So we're really dealing with fighting malnutrition and creating educational opportunities. So we've got teens, we've got young children, we've got families, and we get to be involved firsthand so that it's just really a beautiful connection between health and lifestyle and giving back. So it's a win-win-win.
Wow. I mean, what I'm really enjoying is that there is such a variety in the health and wellness and lifestyle sector, and how we all come to it in different ways, but how when you're talking and you're sharing, it all feels like you have found something very, very special. Like this is your special place. And I think that it just shows how big the sector is and how accessible, because you just talked a little bit about that, the accessibility of self-care, self-love, spirituality, enhancement, mental health, what have you. And it's all about I think it's the life of betterment, being able to have a life that is accentuated in betterment. Let's just talk briefly, because you are not only in the sector, you are pouring into other people. And let's talk a little bit about what is it that you do that helps you enable yourself, because our audience are full of entrepreneurs. They're full of entrepreneurs that like to support other entrepreneurs, but this is called mission accepted. We took the mission. You took the mission. There's highs and lows to that mission. I'm going to talk about that in the next question that I ask you, but just simply share, what is it that you do to be able to sustain yourself, that for your own, whether you call it self-care, support, what have you, to be able to step into this work? Because there's a lot of people that want to, and they're like, I don't know, like that's an outpour, right? What's the burnout like? You're in giving, you're in gifting. So let's start with you just quickly, Kristen. What is it that you do to help keep yourself full?
So this scares some people. Like when I talk to my best friend who doesn't do this stuff, I have a daily meditational practice. I'm an early riser, and I call my early mornings my delicious time. So I have a meditational method. I do some journaling. It sounds kind of simplistic. It's something that I've built over over the past several years, and it works for me. The other thing I would say is that I'm really good about boundaries. That took me a while. I'm a little older. It took me a while to build boundaries. So it's making sure that I take that time for myself and
Mhm.
connect, because it's like the saying, put somebody else's mask on the airplane before you put your mask on before
Yeah.
you put somebody else's. So that to me is essential to my health and well-being. And if I don't have it, I'm a little bit like a scrambled egg.
That's a good, let's leave on that note. A little bit like a scrambled egg, but no, we can appreciate
Yeah.
that. Thank you so much. And Bianca, you're working in the world of mental health. So tell us, what do you do for yourself?
Yeah, so it's definitely important for me, specifically in this type of field, to take care of myself, make sure I'm healthy. And with that being said, I see my own therapist, and that's very important for me to do my own therapy weekly to make sure, that I'm also continuing to working on all the troubles that comes with entrepreneurship and everything in between to make sure I can be the best for everybody else. I also make sure I use different coping skills like journaling, whether that's listening to different podcasts that can
Mhm.
help me reading the self-help books. And also, I think it's very important to have a good support system. And so that being said, relying on my support system when I need them.
These are just great life lessons, people. But if you want to serve, if your serve is to serve, these are fantastic things to get into place as you're building your business. I think it's just as important as all of the
Mhm.
elements to your business. And Ed and Abby, I mean, you guys you're a couple, so that might even have its own interesting dynamic. So what do you guys do to keep inspired and motivated and full?
Motivated and full. Well, we're trying to take better care of ourselves, and our family and our pets. We want to live longer, obviously, and be healthy. And we do that with our skin balms and our moisturizers. We use all of our products. Obviously, we believe in them. And as Abby said, the skin is the biggest organ on the body, and you're absorbing everything through that. So we've really awakened and realized that.
Yeah, we also eat.
Yeah, we try to eat healthy, do everything healthy. We make our own stuff, and if we're gonna eat bad, we make it ourselves and not buy it from the store. So we don't.
He makes our cookies.
I make ice cream. I make cookies. I bake bread. I do all that stuff. I make the dogs all their own home food. We don't buy kibble anymore.
And our mental health is about our dogs. And as a matter of fact, why the background that we're in right now, we're at our land in northern Nevada. We're going to be building, not opening yet, I wish. But we're going to be building a dog sanctuary, and we're going to be fostering dogs here, and that helps because our dogs are our life. We have 5 dogs. Our house is a circus.
There are babies.
There are babies. I'm an empty nester, so I am pouring all the energy that I used to put into to annoy my children. I now annoy my dogs with, and we even started having them eat clean. We make their food, so we've really embraced the natural products and all that, and made a lot of really great connections at the farmers market.
Yeah, in fact, our daughter used to call our dog Big Booty because he was a little overweight. Not anymore.
No.
He's felt. He looks
So it
great.
sounds to me like not only when you had that awakening about one of the things that you do for yourself is you had that awakening about the things that you were putting in your body. You made a beautiful product,
I
and
can
now
tell
you
the
live
truth.
that way.
I can tell you definitely we realize it now for sure because we were eating cleaner. And when we go out and like if we go I'm not going to name any restaurants or names, but when we go out and eat those, a lot of times we feel it for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So we know we're doing better, and it's better for you to eat clean and not eat the stuff that it's processed and has all the chemicals, and we can't have preservatives. You can't avoid the sugars always. All the good stuff seem to have it, but you do what you can to live better and eat better. So
Live better. Live
yes.
better. Thank you. And Kazamaru, for yourself.
Yes. So I think for myself, I do, of course, meditate. That's just part of me. And then I use my own, for myself, I mean, the Japanese healing method that I was trained in Japan. But apart from that, actually, I love doing hula. When I dance hula, it's it really brings me back to my true spirit, because in essence, hula is very spiritual. Um, and apart from that, I think just a regular questioning, going back to my essence, going back to my intention, so that I always come from a place of love and willingness to share whatever I have. And strangely enough, I don't use the psychic eye as much for myself, so that's my next step probably. But I think that because, our modern lifestyle, modern world has kind of eradicated that part, which used to be a fully integral part of society and community and family. Especially here in Hawaii, every family had their own psychic medium. So I want to
Wow.
use that more. Yeah, I want to use that more for myself. But I think I do that naturally when I meditate, because I have all the visions, and then I just follow the visions. And yeah, in its core, it's self-questioning in a good way, and meditating and dancing hula.
I love that. Dancing hula and making homemade ice cream. This is sounding like a great show, right? But I think what happens is you embody it.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to have a private health studio, and there was 18 of us staff, and you didn't go to work. You just took yourself to a different location because you had embodied what you believe, and you were eating and living and thinking and taking care of yourself. Like, you're giving people therapy, you're getting therapy. I mean, it's all part of what we do. And so, Toby, that's wrap this up with you in that question, because you were just talking about how these people are in survival, and it's easy. I believe a lot of my colleagues in the nonprofit, even ourselves in the, Empower Women, we can easily deplete ourselves a little bit in helping others, particularly when you're dealing with conditions like survival. So what are some of the things that you do so that you can keep doing what you're doing?
Yeah, I think it would be really easy, like very easy to burn out. And I've been doing this for over 13 years, and I've had my moments of like, what am I doing questions. But yeah, I have a phenomenal relationship with myself and with my husband and with our children. And I think they're the basis for me to be able to grow and do all the other things in the world. I love to take hot showers. And that's my quiet meditation space, is when I'm relaxing and thinking and there's no noise. I love to listen to books, and it just transforms you to another place. And it's fabulous to listen to something. And I really enjoy baking. I am not like a super healthy fanatic, Ed and Abby. Sorry, I love M&Ms. And so like
You too.
We do too.
All right.
Yeah,
We have, but we try not to eat them.
it's all good things. So yeah, and then it comes down to like a real passion of mine is traveling with a purpose. And so that's just like the number one. When I get to do my volunteer vacations, I get to be with cool people, and we're doing good work, and we're working hard to support a community, and we're out of our comfort zones, and we're learning a new culture and experiencing new things. And it just takes me from like a mindset of myself and the things that I could consider like that aren't going the way I want them in my life. And then I just get to say, well, like, it's not about me. Like, I'm here for them. So it's all about giving and service, and just having like a very deep sense of gratitude for the life that I lead.
Right on. Well, look, I'm going to put these next two questions together. Thank you so much for that, because your audience today are entrepreneurs. Your audience today are people that love to support entrepreneurs. Your audience today is very much about all of the things that you talked about. And but you are also in business. You're in healer, you're healers, you're doing your thing, but you're also in business. And we know, because we're encouraging people to reach out to you, because that's what keeps healers sustained, is you sustaining other people. So if you could, what is one of the biggest risks, or what felt risky in doing what you were doing? And then it doesn't need to be the same reward from that. What's one of the riskiest things that it took for you to keep going or start going? And then what's one of the coolest things that's happened to you? Like, what's one of the coolest things that's happened to you due to the fact that you're in this great business of self-improvement? And then we'll don't leave. We're going to wrap up with something cool after that. So, Kristen, one of your biggest risks, one of your biggest coolest things.
Okay, so I have to say one of the biggest risks has probably been in the last year, in the summer of 2024. I left my corporate job to really follow my intuition and my passion and make my coaching and my healing a full-time business and practice. I don't call it a business, I call it a practice. And it got to a point where I couldn't function in my, I guess, traditional corporate job anymore. It required a lot of left brain and right brain or logical thinking. I was selling software and marketing analytics SaaS solutions. And I was a mentor in a mentoring program, and I really was getting a charge off of mentoring people, and I would light up. And so I teach about intuition and following your passion and really digging deep into what lights people up. And I thought, Chris, you've got to listen to yourself and take that advice. So I left my job, and my dad, was a very loving person who, was in corporate and in sales for his whole time. And then I had my mother on the other side of the fence. It almost became, I just couldn't not do it anymore, Deb. I had to do it. The cool thing that happened out of this, I met some awesome people that supported me in it. As soon as I kind of raised my hand and came out of the spiritual closet, so to speak, I've always been empathic and I've always been claircognizant. And I was taught to read auras when I was 9 years old. So I would be at a corporate setting and I'd see all this stuff going on, but I would hide it. As soon as I didn't have to hide it anymore, those talents got stronger. And then people started coming to me. Now, I've always been helping people. And people would say to me that I would help. Chris, you really should be doing this full time. There are things that you know or things that you're teaching me in a way that I couldn't learn them anyplace else. And I too have gone to see Reiki healers and all kinds of healers, and they would say kind of the same thing to me, Chris, you should be doing this work. So the coolest thing was that once I took the cap off of my talents and stopped suppressing myself, they grew and more people wanted to come to me.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
No, that's fantastic. Yay. You're at a business meeting, and you're starting to see things all over. That's awesome. That's so cool. I mean, I'm sure
I could tell you stories.
Yeah.
I had a boss that used to put
you
me
know what?
in
I'm gonna I was gonna move on because I noticed that we're close to time, but I'd love to hear, we should just do a whole show on stories that have happened for psychics, right? Maybe we'll throw that into the group mix. Kazmer's like, yeah, absolutely. We want all psychic stories. Okay, hold that thought. Write that thought down, Kristen, and we'll do something. Bianca, and what about yourself? Risk and then something cool.
I think the biggest risk is actually opening up the business. You never know if the business is if it's going to be successful, or if it's not going to be successful. You just don't have a guarantee. But I knew that this is my passion. It's been my passion most of my life. And if I can just help one person, one teenager out there, not feel the same way I felt, money's not going to be an issue, getting the help that they need, getting quality care, then the risk is worth taking. So that's my biggest risk. I need to do it. And then I think the coolest thing is, like Kristen mentioned, the people I've met. I've been in the community weekly, all the podcasts I've been on, like this one, and just all the amazing people I meet in the community that provide mental health care has been the best so far.
Right on. That's so great. Thank you so much. And Ed and Abby?
Yeah, I have to say, like Bianca, getting started was the biggest thing. When we realized we had something, going for the patent, because if someone else had already come through with that, we would have been crushed, and we wouldn't have known what to do. And luckily, it turned out to be original. And frankly, it was also pretty scary to expand our line, to go from something that we knew to add on like moisturizer, skin, lip balm, sunblock, And then now we're doing candles too with our same scents for everything. So you can have kind of a little spa day where you can do the moisturizer, the skin balm, the lip balm, the candle, and get in the mood. So it was, and truthfully, one of our most exciting moments is in helping people, because we've truly helped people.
We've connected with a lot of people.
Yeah, we met a lot of people, and who are lovely, but we've actually helped people with their conditions. We had this little girl. She had a metal allergy where she was 10-year-old, wanted to wear earrings, but she was allergic to everything, and she'd get infected. So we sold her mom some of the skin balm, and we said, we'll take care of that infection, no problem. The girl and her mom came back a week later and told us not only is her infection gone, but she can wear any earring she wants now, whether it's platinum, gold, dollar store hoops, whatever she can wear. And I was like, oh my God, I wanted to cry, because
I have that metal allergy and never even thought to try it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
and so
I have that allergy.
Yeah.
But the only time I've worn earrings was at our wedding.
Yeah.
And within 5 minutes, and you ladies will know, with 5 minutes, the infection bubble.
Yeah.
Within 5 minutes, and that's what that little girl had. So when she did it, I tried it, and it worked. So if I want to wear earrings, I just have to put the balm on my ear, and then put the earrings in, no bubble at all. It's not like I had to wait for the bubble.
No infection.
Nothing.
Yes.
It's the first time in my life that I've ever been able. Even when I was 22, I pierced my belly button. I had to have a doctor remove it to tell you how bad my metal allergy is because of infection. So I was so not only were we excited to help her, I'm like, ooh, did we help me?
Maybe. Bonus. That's a double bonus. No,
Exactly.
those stories are incredible. Again, we gotta do a show just on stories. We gotta do show just on stories. Kazamaru, thank you so much, Ed and Abby. What about for yourself? Risk and
risk and cool
risk and
stuff. I think if I look at it objectively, I probably took a big risk leaving things that I've built for many, many years with my full heart. But because I've always followed my intuition and instinct and my psychic sight, I never felt anything like risk. It just felt, this is what I have to do. This is what I need to do. And it's like, of course, it's a risk. I'm listening to voices that I'm hearing from the ether.
That's an interesting business plan, right?
The risk of being locked up now. So I never really felt it like a risk. Maybe I just have a broken brain that don't understand risk. That could be it. But it always felt like I totally trusted what I saw and heard and felt. So, and always ended up in the best, most blessed places in life. And the coolest thing I think is to discover when I stepped out professionally with the psychic mediumship. The coolest thing was probably that it was so easy and natural to read and see the most crazy things that I shouldn't be able to see. And yeah, so that's the first thing that was really, this is totally me. So it's natural. I'm in the right place and doing what I should be doing. But I think other than that how collaborative and uplifting and supporting everybody is in this, that I have encountered in this psychic medium space. This is something that I absolutely love. Supporting each other, uplifting each other, collaborating. It's beautiful. So that's super cool.
That is very cool. Like to find, people say find your tribe or whatever, but I don't think that you can even describe when you're in a room with people and you're like, I get it. It's kind of like as entrepreneurs or as people, doing the same thing, doing good work.
I think the world really needs more and better collaboration and supportive of each other. So be a better place. More aloha.
Absolutely. I mean, I say I get to. People are like, what do you got to do? I go, no. I get to. I get to hang out with people just like yourself. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And Toby, what has been risk and what has been cool?
Well, every day.
Let's say feet on the ground. Feet on the ground.
Yeah, so like everyone else, I think it was just the start, like just the jump off the cliff, like, okay, this is what we're doing. Um, Financially, the biggest risk for us was to like hire a grant writer. And she was very honest. She was like, hey, this is a leap of faith. You're not going to see your money for months and months and months. You're going to pay us thousands of dollars and you're not going to see any money for a long time. Like, so, there's risks involved. My husband, he does all of our books. And when he looks at our numbers, he's like, honey, you're spending more money than we bring in. We need to scale back. And I'm like, oh no, babe, we just need to find more sponsors. We need to get more money. Like, it's not about scaling back because that's feeding less kiddos. Like we need to do more. We need to earn more money. And the coolest surprise, like truthfully, there's just been so many. The relationships that I've created with the people, the volunteers that come, they get to see what life is like in a developing country, like, and just opening of the eyes and hearts and minds and souls, like that is just like so cool. And then to see our kiddos that are going from like the third percentile to, like the 80th, to like see what nutrition actually does to kiddos that were fighting malnutrition. So it's been beautiful. It's phenomenal. It's all of the things. It's all the things wrapped into one. But highlight number one is walking in the streets with my group of volunteers and running into one of our kiddos and having them run up to me and give me a hug. Like highlight number one, coolest thing ever.
Coolest thing ever. There you go. Hashtag coolest thing ever. So audience, I hope that you are listening and drinking this in, because it's not a rare opportunity to be sitting in the room full of people that are serving, but it's really beautiful when you peel back the layer a little bit and go like, you can build a life, you can build a sustainable life, you can be in service and be served. And I think that that's been a really difficult thing for the health and wellness. Like usually it was you're serving and you're exhausted, you're serving and you're broke. Right? You're serving and you're not sustained, whether it's the starving artist or the starving creative or the starving server. So really that has completely changed, and you can build and to really be sustainable so that you can serve is absolutely important. I mean, we absolutely important. And there's been a big mind shift around that. So people that at once were like, I don't want to, what do you mean I'm going to stop going over here and being in this business? And some people just come right out of the gate. They're like 16, 17, 18 years old. They're like, no, I want to be in the health and wellness sector. I want to have a franchise. You want to franchise in mental health instead of franchise in maybe some of those restaurants you were talking about that weren't so good there, that people were eating from, Ed. You know what I mean? Like now people are buying franchises in mental health instead of, things that you could eat and, big and all those kind of things, right? Now they're actually franchising in really beautiful things that are changing the planet. So first of all, thank you for what you do. All of these incredible people, all of their contact information will be in the show notes. I love that I just keep hearing the word collaborative. And I just see, as I'm seeing all of you, just these incredible partnerships that can happen and support that can happen either way. I mean, and you meet people in the coolest places, when you're supposed to meet somebody that you will, and you do. So I was at this big Oscars event. It was so busy, you couldn't run to the bathroom. But when you're past the point where you should have run to the bathroom, the hour later, I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Right. And so I run in the bathroom, I'm quickly washing my hands, and then I see Abby, and I don't know. I mean, I think the bathroom's almost like the best place to network, I think. But I'm like, I don't even know what I said to her. I think I saw her tag and it said, something about dogs or something. And we started talking. She's like, oh, I got this cream. I'm like, okay, great. I wash my hands. I'm like, yay, have a good day. Run back because I'm the paid volunteer for my son's company. And so unpaid volunteer. So I'm doing that. And then all of a sudden, one of my staff comes over and goes, oh my God, there's this amazing cream. I'm telling you, you could have hired them to pitch you all day. And they were like, on and on and on. You got to go over there. And there's all the 262 women. And you had them like all around you, Ed, and you were like telling them what to do, what to go. And I'm like, okay, so let's check this out. And I came home and I tried the cream and I'm like, where's those people's phone number? I got to call them. I mean, really, that's how people find each other, right? And so thank you so much for showing up today. I'm going to just talk to our listeners for a minute here. So look, thank you so much for showing up and constantly showing up. Thank you for sending out the messages. That's what we do at Mission Accepted, is we like to share the message of people that are on a mission, whatever that looks like. But if that's you and you want to be sitting here, you can. And I am super excited today. You will not see this show today, but the time you see this show, we will have fully launched. This evening, in just a few hours, we are going to launch the Women's Channel, which is the women's TV channel for women and those that support women. Just like we've got Ed hanging out here. So I'm thinking that's everybody. And now we have an opportunity to really offer people to have all sorts of mediums of platforms. So if you want to be heard by 250 million people, you now can, because we now live in an era of accessible media. And then if you want, it's just, you can have anything you want in that. Anyways, I'm super excited about it today, but I'm super excited to announce it here that if you want to have a conversation about having your own show or being interviewed on our show, you can be seen on our show or doing a commercial on shows that we're supporting. That's all possible. Is that not incredible? So that's where the world has gone. So we're super excited that we get to podcast with you guys today on a really special day for us. People are like, are you podcasting today? I'm like, yeah, what else? I have some cool people. So thank you for being part of that. But audience, that's a message to you that if you want to be seen, if you want to stand up, speak up, and show up, you know where we are. We're not difficult to find. The website's my name, and it's in the show notes as well. It's debdrummond.com. But please call these incredible people. Thank you so much for being with us today. And as always, I always end it the same way. So my audience and my guests, till we meet again, you be well and stay groovy. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you.